G'day guys, Trace here from 22Gremlin, formerly Team Tracer's Current for my older viewers. As you probably know, Sydney's weather's been pretty bad at the moment, so I haven't actually had a chance to get out and do a media day about 22Gremlin rods. So I'm going to put this together, give you guys a rundown of what is 22Gremlin, what 22Gremlin's all about. I know it's not me out fishing, I know everything like that, but I've been away fishing comps. I've been trying to get out on the water and do media, but the rain and the wind and everything's just been too bad. So we'll get into it and I'll show you guys what these rods are all about. So the idea and the opportunity for 22Gremlin came up about 12 months ago. It was right after I sunk my boat in the Oz Open. So whenever you saw that, I had some downtime because I didn't have a boat. So this opportunity came up. And the reason being was because in a few situations prior, when I was fishing a lot, I found myself losing fish because rods were bending too much through this section here. So through the bottom section of the fishing rod, they were bending too much. And it was when I was hooking fish in tight structure, whether it be under pontoons or up against rock walls, oyster racks, or when a fish would try and dive for a mooring rope on a moored boat, I didn't have the stopping power from the rod. I mean, you're using 3 and 4 pound leader, so you need a rod that's tough. And that was something I wasn't getting, and I wanted to be accountable for every fish that I lost. So if I lost a fish, I wanted it to be on my terms and it's my fault, so I can turn around and go, what could have I done better there? Not the rod bent way too much. I had my drag locked, it bent too much. The fish got a meter more forgiveness and it busted me off. So we started designing this rod specifically at the start, just thinking, for me, it was just thinking, if these don't sell, I've got 100 fishing rods that are specifically designed to me and what I like out of a rod. And the idea was you can have 10 rods in your boat, that's fine for all different types of things, but I wanted, not only do I want one that's tough and forgiving, I also want something that can be used for a variety of different species. So I do a lot of brim fishing, flathead fishing, I do a lot of bass fishing as well. Anything found in estuaries I wanted to be able to do. And then it came up that I got to test it on a few kingfish and things like that. And it was like, okay, each prototype, which was 15 prototypes, each prototype from then on got better and better and better. And therefore I was catching brim and throwing 1/40ths on it to throwing 1/8 jig heads at kingfish and being able to turn them. I mean, I say kingfish, I mean, your low 70s to mid 80 centimeter kingfish. So they're still rats, but still turning that on a brim rod, I thought that was pretty impressive. Yeah, the whole design situation and the whole time and things, it took a long time. It took a lot of time for giving them to specific anglers and things like that. But I think we've come up with something seriously special here. So if you haven't seen it already, this is the rod. So got the 22Gremlin logo there. It's a 1 to 5 kilo. And the reason why it's a 1 to 5 kilo is because it sticks anywhere between 1 kilo and 5 kilo. You can throw the lighter stuff on it. You can throw heavy stuff on it. Do whatever you want. If you want to bait fish with it, bait fish with it. I don't care. This was the idea behind the rod. Get a rod out there that everyone can use, that you don't have to have 4 rods. You can carry 4 rods if you want, but carry 4 of these, because then you can swap and change and do whatever you want. You don't have to one for crankbaiting, one for light plastics, one for heavy plastics. I wanted it all to be in one rod. So when I go traveling, one rod. I don't have to bring 4. I don't have to be specific. I just fished at Lake Macquarie and the Australian Open. I didn't fish well, but that was my fault. And I was carrying 10 of these in the boat instead of having 3 of 1, 3 of 2, 3 of 3. So we'll jump into the specifics of it now, but that's the rundown and that's how 22Gremlin was created. All right, so after a quick 9 holes, I'm back, and I'm going to run through with you some of the features of this rod so far. So we've stiffened up this section. You probably could have figured that out based on what I was saying. So this section, extremely stiff. Light tip, really, really light tip. That's for casting distance and forgiveness when striking fish. Now, I pair this up with a Daiwa TD Black, the newest one, a 2000. Based on what I've heard from other anglers that have fished with this rod, they're pairing it up with about a 2500, 8 to 6 pound braid, and then whatever leader they prefer. I run 6 pound braid and 4 pound leader for most of my fishing. I'll up it to 6 or 8 for flathead fishing. I know, I've said it before. Everyone goes, you're going to get busted off if you catch a big flathead. Bullshit. I catch big flathead on 6 pound, on 8 pound, doesn't bother me. So the next thing with it is the split butt. Okay, so it's a split butt, really good reel seat here. We've got Fuji guides through it. It's 2-piece and it comes in a 2-piece cover. Now the cover, which I don't have on me, goes down to here when it's in 1 piece. It goes down to that eyelet and there's a flap that goes over it. That's so that the hook doesn't get caught in the cover. I'm sick and tired of that happening. We have put a lot of work into these things. Every detail is down to the fine print. I've made sure every time I've tested it that I've got back to them and got back to our supplier and said, this is what we want, change this, this, and this. Probably the main feature with this rod is the end eyelets. So you'll notice they're all evenly spaced except these 3. I don't know if you can see that on the camera, but this space is a whole lot bigger than this one here, right? The reason we did that is for casting distance. We wanted to maximize the space here and shrink these 2. 1, for casting distance when you're throwing, and 2, because this then strengthens the tip when you're moving a lure through the water. Now, a lot of you will go, oh, well, why not have a lighter tip so you can move lures and get a better action on your plastics? Well, because when you're fishing edges, when you're fishing boat holes and things like that, chances are you're dead sticking or you're ripping a lure and then dead sticking it. I've put 1/16, 1/12 on it, gone flathead fishing, gone bottom bouncing, and it's done exactly what I want out of a rod. Action-wise, I do throw crankbaits on it, and crankbaits tend to swim very good. Obviously not as good as a specific crankbait rod, but as an all-rounder, you're not sacrificing anything out of the tip being that little bit different, or the butt being a little bit different, or the middle section being a lot stiffer. So basically what I'm trying to say is we've fine-tuned everything to be an all-rounder rod, hence why it says 1 to 5 kilo on it. An all-rounder rod for anyone that wants it. If you don't want to carry 3 or 4 rods with you for the different lures you might use in the different environments, if you're going land-based fishing, you're going out in the boat, you want a quick thing to throw in the boat, trust everything's going to be good, this is the rod that you need to buy. Stop losing fish because of the performance of other rods. I don't care about the hype around those rods. I don't care about any of it, the logo, anything, right? Obviously, there is specific rods for specific lures and specific actions and everything like that, and that's great. But for me personally, I'm not spending $400 per rod having 5 rods that are all different. It's not worth it when you can have one of these that does everything for you. So the next thing is the price point. So when we were building it, I said from the beginning that I don't care what it costs to make. I want to keep the retail under $200. And I've had from a few people that own tackle shops, and you've probably heard it from them if you followed the social media posts. They're all saying this is a $270 rod to early $300 rods. You should be charging more. You should be making more money, all that sort of stuff. Well, it's a team effort, this. And as I said before, at the end of the day, if I don't sell them, I got 100 rods that I can use for the rest of my life and never have to buy a fishing rod again. The reason I wanted to keep it under 200 is because that's where the gap in the market is. Not everyone's got $400 or $500 to spend on a rod. People want rods that they can throw around, that they can use consistently. They're not going to break, all that sort of stuff. And I wanted it. They're retailing at $189. I could have put them at $199 because, profit margin's great. But I kept them at $189 because I know people prefer to have that sort of a quality rod for less of a price. Right? You tell me another rod that's as good as this for the same price, I genuinely will be surprised. Like, there isn't anything that competes with this sort of rod at that price point. And that was the whole idea. Let's compete properly with the price point so that people are not only happy but stoked with their purchases. And that's what 22Gremlin's about. This is why I'm doing it. This is why we're doing it. This is why I've tested them through the roof to make sure that we are getting the right product out for everyone to use and everyone to afford. All right, so we're going to move on from the rod and start talking about some of the other things that we've done that will be sold on the website. So first one off the bat is the Shorefish Soft crab. The idea behind this was we want floating claws, we want bigger trebles, because so the reason behind bigger trebles was on other crabs I've lost fish because the trebles were too small. Can't put the stick on them I want to. Right? If one of them swims towards any sort of structure, I can't just lock it up, it'll pull hooks. So I thought the strike rate will go slightly down, but the landing rate will go high, and that's absolutely what I prefer. So still got the floating claws. The difference is the entire crab is soft. The whole thing is soft. The weight is on the inside, so I don't have to worry about losing weight. I can cast it at structure, and if it hits the structure, it's not going to make anywhere near as much noise. It's not going to spook fish. And we've made this where you tie your knot to. I don't know if you can see that there. I don't know if that's going to zoom properly, but we've made it so that this, where you tie your knot to, sticks right up. So when it floats down, it actually floats level, right? And those claws will stand up like that and float to the bottom. So that's the shorefish soft crab. But I've caught a fair few fish on this so far, and I'm not a crab fisherman. I do not fish crabs at all, and I've still caught fish on it. So if I can do it, anyone can do it. All right, so that's in there. That's the box it comes in. Right, moving on to the next one is our hidden weight hooks. Now, these are really exciting. This is something I worked on that was relatively easy to do, other than the rod that took a long time. These ones are pretty easy to tune. I had one thought in mind and one thought only, and that was reduce the C curve in the hook and make it flat and flush to the lure. I don't know if you can see that again. You won't be able to see it because my camera doesn't zoom properly, but it goes flush with the lure. That's going to reduce snags. It's going to increase hookup. It also is going to reduce, it's hard because when you're throwing light plastics, sometimes your light plastics can get caught up on the hook depending on what you're using. Say like a grub, you can get that tail that curls into the hook, and then the cast is basically useless. I just shoved that straight through my finger, but that's okay. That was the whole idea. This is the 1/20th here. They're also going to come in 1/40th once we get some stock of them, but this is the 1/20th. I've caught multiple fish on it. They're chemically sharpened hooks. Really, really nice to throw and really good when hooking up. I haven't lost or pulled hooks on many fish with this. And then again, I'm testing these rods to their maximum. So I am putting a lot of stick on fish. So at the same time as testing the rods, I'm testing the hooks too. Right, moving on. This one took a lot of effort. So this one was an idea that we all came up with. It was a tough one because everyone was like, let's do line, let's do leaders, let's do braid. I said no to pretty much all of it except for the braid. I thought if we can make an affordable braided line that's genuinely good, but less strands, I would love to do it. I didn't think it was going to be possible, but after trying it a few times, I thought, yeah, this stuff's going to be the real deal. So right here, we've got our X4 braid, 4-strand braid, 6 pound, and it comes in 500 and 375 meter. Off the top of my head, I've got the 500 here. It comes in red and yellow. It's tough, this stuff. Like it matches every other 4-strand braid, but it's on the cheaper level. Again, we're not looking for maximum margin on everything. We just want to get this stuff in people's hands, the right price. Don't break the bank. Buy this sort of stuff. You're gonna need it. Like at least now, if you want 500 meters of braid, you can get it. 6 pound, rig 2, 3, 4 rods up with it, depending on how much backing you want to put on your reels. And it's happy days. I can't remember what these retail at, but it's not much. I really recommend giving it a go because I did, and I was genuinely surprised by it. I don't have it rigged on right now because I actually don't have enough stock to rig it on. I do have it rigged on one of my rods just for testing days and stuff like that, but I haven't had a chance between tournaments to rig all my rods up with it, and I will eventually. So you will see red braid on every single one of my rods very, very soon. Righto, so that's going to pretty much conclude our video. I've run through pretty much everything. Believe me or not, this rod is the real deal. This is the main thing that I want to get into people's hands. I genuinely believe this is, for the price point, the best rod on the market. And a lot of people that have thrown it, guys that didn't even know it existed, I've handed one to and said, can you give this a go? and they've given it a go and loved it. I know 2 people that I gave rods to test them out in the Australian Open, and they threw out rods that are worth 4 times as much just to put one of these in their hands. If that's happening, and if I'm putting 10 of these in my boat rigged up with the same thing, it has to be something. I wouldn't do it if it wasn't the best thing I'd put in my hands. Like, it's unbelievable, this rod. I'm really proud of what we've all done. I'm really proud of where we've come since 12 months ago. It's been tough work, but we got there in the end. So 22Gremlin, if you want one, there's a discount code on the website. The website will open today. So discount code is going to be Gremlin, and it will give you 20% off. Now, they're going to retail at $189, and shipping with rods is quite expensive. If you live in the Sydney area, please let me know so that I can drop one off to you. I will bring it personally to your address if you are in the Sydney area. And that's Northern Beaches, pretty much out to Parramatta, pretty much down to Cronulla. If you're around that area, I will drop one off to you. If I'm heading up Central Coast Way, let me know. Send me a message on Instagram. You all know my Instagram at Team Traces Current. I will bring one out to you based off solely the fact of I know the shipping costs are a bit ridiculous. But yeah, speak to me, jump on the website, have a look. If you shoot me a message, I can sort something out for you with the shipping and things like that. Let's get these out there. Let's really work hard on it, because the next couple of models are going to be exciting, but I don't know if they're going to be as good as this one. I don't know yet until I start putting the prototypes in my hand. We're probably looking at August to September for the next model to come in. We've worked really hard again on these rods. I'm still not sure until I get this prototype in and pull the trigger on getting the rest of them. So thanks so much for having a look, and thanks so much to everyone that supported 22Gremlin so far. There's been so much positive feedback. I'd love so much if you sent me photos and stuff that we can use to get this brand out there and get it really popular, because I genuinely do believe that these are the next best thing. And I genuinely believe this business can go a long, long way. Anyway, thanks guys.